Today, I'm going for our first run in the Brooks Glycerin 18. 6.45 miles, 8 minutes, 35 seconds per mile, 137 beats per minute today. Going for a little bit of a shorter run for a couple of reasons. One, the temperatures just started dropping during the run, getting colder by the minute. And also, I do want to take it a little bit easier today because I do have a little bit of a longer, tougher run planned for the following day. But in either event, enjoying my time in the Brooks Glycerin 18. And I kind of say that way because I was a little bit surprised by what this shoe had in store for me. But before I get into that, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that was sent to me for review by Roadrunner Sports, so I didn't have to pay for it. But they're not paying me to make this video or to review the shoe or to wear the shoe. And no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage until you get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now, with the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about the Brooks Glycerin 18. Now, this is my first glycerin that I've ever run in. And because this was my first time running in this shoe, I also tried not to look up too much information about it beforehand. I avoided kind of looking at videos, but also looking at some of the stats, just so that I could get hopefully a better read of what this shoe was like as I ran in it. And so a couple of things came to mind instantly. This shoe is really comfortable to wear. You got a lot of nice padding in the heel cup. The tongue is padded as well. It makes it very comfortable to wear. The laces are nice and puffy, so everything was just screams comfort on the upper, at least from a visual perspective. And it definitely felt very comfortable to wear. The mesh in the upper is also very comfortable to walk around in. And walking around in this shoe is just absolutely a dream. It's so comfortable to walk around in this shoe. I thought that maybe there's an Ortholite liner in here, and as I took a look at it, it says Ortholite right on the bottom, so there definitely is an Ortholite liner in the shoe, which helps with that kind of step-in comfort, walking around comfort, and pressing in on the at least the upper layer of the midsole. That part is nice and soft as well. So walking around in the shoe, just absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed that experience. And running in the shoe was really soft and comfortable as well. I was really surprised by that, by how soft it was, given that it didn't seem like a giant max cushion shoe, at least from the looks of it. But I was getting a lot of that max cushion type feel, at least in the beginning part of the run. Towards the later parts of the run, I felt like a lot of that cushiness, that softness had kind of gone away. Maybe my body was just not noticing it anymore, or maybe like the Ortholite liner, it's not designed for tons of miles of pounding at one time. So maybe that's what it is. So that kind of faded a little bit towards the end of the run. The other thing that I noticed pretty much right away, though, is that it felt like this had a very low heel drop. As I was thinking about it during the run, I thought, did Brooks really make like a 6mm heel drop shoe or a 4mm heel drop shoe? There was just something about the mechanics of the shoe that made it feel like a much lower heel drop than it is. The actual heel drop on the shoe is 10 millimeters, and the weight is 10.2 ounces. So for the amount of weight on the shoe, it felt like a relatively light shoe. It feels lighter in hand than it looks, and it felt good on foot. It didn't feel like it was heavy at all, especially for like a max cushion category shoe. But the heel drop just is kind of throwing me off. And that's something that I've experienced with other Brooks shoes in the past, not Glycerin, but the Brooks, I ran in the Brooks 11, not the 12, but the 11 GTX version. And that had a 12 millimeter heel drop. And I was expecting at least some running dynamics in the Glycerin that were very similar to the Ghost 11 GTX, where that shoe, I just felt like that 12 millimeters of heel drop was fighting me and making my foot do things that it wanted it to do rather than kind of working with my foot in the way that it wants to work. I didn't really feel that at all. So I was really enjoying the running mechanics of this shoe. It did feel like there was a lower heel drop, which was a little bit kind of confusing. And it did cause a little bit of kind of, I don't know if it was like tendon strain. I don't want to say strain, but I started feeling it kind of like in like upper, I guess like high ankle is kind of the area that they refer to it if you're talking about like football injuries. Like those kind of areas, I started to feel a little bit of stress there in my left foot by the end of the run. And I think that's something that's going on in terms of the way that this midsole is behaving as my foot is hitting the ground. Whether that's good for me or not, I'm not sure, but I definitely felt like that part of my leg was getting more work or more attention than it normally gets during a run. So that's something that I'm going to keep an eye out as I put more miles into this shoe. And so I really was surprised by this shoe in that it was not as big and clunky and cumbersome as I was kind of expecting. That's what I was expecting from the Glycerin 18, but that's not what I got at all. It was surprisingly nimble for a shoe that I would think is in the max cushion category, but it wasn't perfect for me. There's just something about this midsole, and we've got a lot of rubber. We have some exposed foam here in the DNA Loft material, but there is a lot of rubber on here, and I'm not sure if that's what's contributing to kind of the feel that I'm getting a little bit of extra stress in like the high ankle or like the lower calf kind of area. But overall, the Ortholite liner is really comfortable in here. The DNA Loft foam is nice and soft in here, so it makes for a relatively cushioned ride. And I've been surprised by the Glycerin 18. I love the way that this shoe looks. I love wearing this shoe around. I think it could be a great casual shoe. I think it could even be a really great gym shoe as well. I think it's a pretty good running shoe. I'm gonna have to put some more miles in it before I kind of like reach my final conclusion of whether that feeling that the heel drop isn't what the heel drop actually is, if that's something that I'm going to like over time, or if that's going to be something that continues to kind of just put undue strain on certain parts of my leg. We'll have to see, so stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so that you can see the update after 100 miles in this shoe. It does make me really wish that Brooks, and I've been saying this pretty much like every opportunity I get whenever I'm talking about Brooks, is that I really wish Brooks would re-release, I think it was either the Glycerin or the Adrenaline, back when, I don't know if it was right when Berkshire Hathaway acquired Brooks, or maybe it was, maybe Berkshire Hathaway has always been involved in Brooks. But they at one point made a Warren Buffett edition shoe, where the shoe had like a cartoon caricature of Warren Buffett, like on the heel, like right below the ankle. I really want them to re-release that version of the shoe because I think that would be amazing. Or maybe a special edition of the 18 or maybe the 19 for next year with like Warren Buffett's face on the side. I just think that would be spectacular. But so far, these are my thoughts after my first run in the Brooks Glycerin 18. Now, before I go, I do want to remind you guys about the charity runner for this week. This week, it's Dominic Emery, who's going to be running the London Marathon that, at least for now, is still scheduled for October. And he's going to be raising money for the Essex Disabled Children. I was happy to donate 70 pounds of my money to his fundraising efforts, and I'll post a link in the description in case you'd like to learn more. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. I hope you all stay safe wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?